There are a lot of different techniques and tools that can help you in your stroke recovery, but one of the most underutilized is sleep. And you may think that you already know all there is to know about health, sleep, and stroke recovery, but I bet that I will surprise you. So let's talk about how sleep impacts stroke recovery, why you might have more trouble sleeping now after your stroke, and I'm gonna give you some practical ways to overcome those challenges. Let's get into it. Sleep and stroke recovery. Sleep impacts literally every aspect of our lives. When you don't get enough sleep, the next day you feel tired, fatigued, groggy, grouchy, and frustrated. You are definitely not at your best. And when you're living day to day in those conditions, it definitely impacts your stroke recovery. Generally, adults need between 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night for optimal health, but 1 in 3 don't get enough. And getting poor sleep doesn't just make you tired the next day, it's also linked to poor health outcomes. When we sleep, our bodies undergo processes that are necessary for recovery and repair. Sleep helps our brain to consolidate memories and process information. It allows for synaptic pruning, which is when the brain trims away pathways that aren't utilized often in order to make space for the pathways that we do use often. And this is where the first 2 principles of neuroplasticity come into play. Use it or lose it, and use it to improve it. According to an article from the Yale School of Medicine, it also allows the brain to remove waste metabolites. And a metabolite is just a molecule that results from the breakdown of food, drugs, or tissues in our body. This process is especially important in stroke recovery when the brain is not only trying to perform all of these necessary functions to keep us alive, but it's also trying to heal itself. Sleep challenges after stroke. Sleep apnea. It's estimated that between 43 and 70% of survivors experience sleep apnea. This is compared to 4 and 24% in the general population. Sleep apnea may have been present before the stroke, but undiagnosed, and the stroke made it worse. Or you can develop sleep apnea after a stroke happens. It can disrupt your sleep because you stop breathing for short periods of time. And this decreases your blood's oxygen level. So the brain senses that you can't breathe, and it briefly wakes you up to get you to breathe in order to get more oxygen into your blood. According to the Mayo Clinic, this can happen between 5 and 30 times an hour, and you might not even realize that you're waking up. If you have a partner, they may notice that you're snoring more or waking up coughing and choking. Insomnia. According to a 2018 review in the Missouri Medicine Journal, insomnia is common in stroke patients and affects 20 to 56%. About 18% of the people reported new onset insomnia after their stroke. So while it most often happens in the time period just after the stroke happens, it can persist. It might be due to anxiety, depression, medication side effects, the area of the brain that was affected, or physical discomfort. But post-stroke insomnia can also contribute to the development of these issues, including anxiety, daytime fatigue, and decreased attention, concentration, and memory. Hypersomnia. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, some stroke survivors may find themselves sleeping too much. However, this is less common than other types of sleep challenges after stroke, with a prevalence of around 1.1 to 27%, according to the Missouri Medicine Journal. Changes in sleep patterns. Some stroke survivors may experience changes in their circadian rhythm or sleep-wake cycle, and this can lead to trouble falling or staying asleep, and it might mean that you wake up more often during the night. This can lead to increased fatigue during the day, and it may also cause you to feel apathy, which is a lack of motivation or interest, which can absolutely impact your stroke recovery. Improve sleep for better recovery. While there are many factors we can't change that affect our ability to sleep, there are lots that we can, including number 1, understand the sleep paradox. And if you've never heard this, it's basically the more that you try to control your sleep, the less likely it is to occur. Let me give you an example. If I say to you, don't think about an elephant, what is the first thing that you think about? An elephant. We can cause anxiety around sleep when we try to force our brain and body to go to sleep. So it's important to find healthier ways to kind of counteract the sleep paradox. We can redirect our thoughts. So instead of saying, oh my gosh, I have got to go to sleep right now, try to say, I trust my body to fall asleep when it needs to. That way you reduce that pressure and anxiety that you're putting on yourself. You can also actively try not to sleep. This doesn't mean that you have to get up and, watch a bunch of TV. You actually want to stay away from stimulating activities. But you can just go lay in bed and say, I'm going to relax now, with no pressure on yourself to actually fall asleep. You can also apply something called opposing efforts, and this is basically just trying to keep your eyes open. The longer that you try to keep your eyes open, the more sleepy you're probably going to get. Number 2, get checked out. Talk with your doctor or your neurologist if you think you may be experiencing disordered breathing. And disordered breathing just encompasses the different types of sleep apnea. You may be able to qualify for a sleep study, and that way you can actually get the help that you need, which most often comes in the form of a CPAP machine. Also talk with your doctor if you're experiencing insomnia or restless leg syndrome. There may be some medications that can help you with this, but they can also look at your current medications to see if it's causing some of these things to develop. Number 3, get on a regular sleep schedule. I know that this may be hard to do, especially if you have kids or you have, alternating things that you need to do on different days, but try your best to go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning. This will help to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. Number 4, get enough physical activity. And I know that this is like a super basic thing to think about, but let me explain this to you in a different way. Imagine that you have an empty pitcher. Every time that you exert some type of energy, you're pouring some liquid into this pitcher. And when the pitcher fills all the way up to the top, that means that you have enough sleep pressure that you can actually go to sleep. So exerting enough energy throughout the day to ensure that you are tired at the end of the night is super important. Number 5, establish a calming bedtime routine. If you are sitting on your phone, doom scrolling, or just flipping mindlessly through TikTok, you are probably not preparing your brain for optimal sleep. Instead, you're wiring yourself, getting yourself anxious, and that's not going to help you fall asleep. So instead, maybe try putting the phone away and reading a chapter in a book, listening to some calming music, or even using something like the Calm app. Number 6, optimize your sleep environment. Make sure that you're keeping your bedroom dark, quiet, and cool. Try to only reserve the bedroom for sleep and sex. You don't want to be doing a bunch of other things in there so that your brain is associating the bed with all sorts of activity. Limit stimulants. Try to stay away from caffeine at least several hours before you go to bed because it will keep you up. And lastly, find healthy ways to manage your stress. And I know this is not easy, but it may take a little bit of soul searching. See what is causing you to be stressed out. Make sure that you're combating that stress with different relaxation strategies. And this may be as simple as going out to lunch with a friend to know that you've got that social support. It might be engaging in your favorite hobby or some type of exercise. If you want to know what the community's most asked questions were about sleep after stroke, check out my OT Answers video where I answer all of those questions. And leave me a comment and let me know, did you find that you had sleep challenges after your stroke, and what helped you? As always, if you found the video helpful, please make sure to leave it a like, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, click the bell to get notifications for when I post new videos. Post-Stroke is a nonprofit. You can help us keep our content free, either by giving us a super thanks by clicking in the YouTube bar below, by giving us a one-time donation via PayPal, or by becoming a Patreon member where in exchange for a monthly donation, you get access to cool perks like social media shoutouts, behind the scenes footage, and even YouTube shoutouts, of which I have some today. A huge thank you to all of our patrons, and a special thank you to Heather G, Ryan D, and Modus Nova in our Empowerer tier. We can't do what we do without you all. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.